notifications, scaling notifications is very, very hard. Because think if Sachin Tendulkar has 10 million followers on Instagram and he posts something, you have to send notifications to 10 million users, and that too near real time. You can't do that. Impossible. Impossible. So you have to pick your battles. One very interesting thing is why YouTube implemented bell icon. Always think, why does a company ask your users to make yet another click and go for a bell icon? Or on Facebook feed, you see first, or something like that, or close friend, or see first, some sort of thing. Instagram has this bell icon again, right? Why do these companies have added bell icon? You should be thinking about this thing while you're using the product. Think it from the engineering perspective. What did they gain by making user click yet another? Because subscribing to a channel was good enough, right? Why would you ask your users to make one, or why would you ask creators to ask their followers to also hit the bell icon?
So filtering out, basically getting the main content, because you have subscribed to 100 odd channels, but eventually you are consuming
It's
information.
engineering. It's engineering bottleneck. I'll tell you why. So if your channel, so now if a lot of channel, now that these platforms have grown in popularity, your notifications, your sending of all of those things become super complicated, right? So you would want to know who your loyal followers are, and you would want to prioritize sending notifications to them, because they are the loyal followers. If they are your loyal followers, they should be notified every single time. Let's say Bhuvan Bam has how many? 20 million followers. And if BB posts video and every time, and if you don't know who their loyal followers are, then you would end up sending notifications to 20 million users, right? But out of 20 million, only 10,000, or let's say only 1 million have hit the bell icon. So now your problem statement of fanning out notifications from 20 million gets reduced to just 1 million. You would still want to send messages to these, but it is okay if it takes time, right? But for this 1 million, you would have to make it near real time. From engineer's perspective, think of it in this term. So how easier these bell icons have made your life, right? Because now you don't really need to worry about fanning out to 20 million users. And obviously this data is very important, because you get to know who your loyal followers are as a creator, but more importantly as a company. So it helps you in building better segments, better clustering algorithms. It helps you train your system better. Just to give you a very nice example or very nice exploitation, there was this challenge 3 or 4 years back about this 10-year challenge, something where you post your current photo and your 10-year-old photo. Why did that trend happen? Think from engineer's perspective. What would you get?
Data for analysis and image processing.
You get data. You get how your face changes, or how a person's face changed across 10 years. You can build models around it. You can build a very nice, so now face recognition, let's say you have your face unlock system, right? And if your phone has a maximum age of, like, let's say 10 years, okay, or even 5 years, so you would want to know how your face changes from a certain age to another age. If you have that thing, you need to build models on how your face changes, so that you can make your face unlocks better, because you would not be feeding in your face every year. You would be doing it just once, right? For building models, for image processing, for building AR applications, for building physical model of people, you can use it at so many places. So the 10 years challenge was a master stroke to get data, because 10 years ago internet did not explode. Internet exploded in last 5 years. You have a lot of recent data, you don't have older data. So to get old data for new users, you start a trend. So 10 years challenge was exhaustively promoted by all the social platforms just because it helped them get the data. People say data is the new oil. You should understand how each of these things would help you leverage a lot of features. So let's quickly wrap the notifications thing. And now you understand why bell icon and 10 years old and all of those fancy things comes into the picture. And obviously it helps you, and such decisions helps your system scale well, right? So basic architecture of a notification service, again, event bus. If you see, every single system that we built had an event bus. Okay, so post publish, post like, you decide, so it goes to a notification service. So notification service does a broadcast to all the users. Simple. Features: push notifications, in-app notifications, aggregation, notification configuration, notification decider, all sorts of fancy things. So push notifications is what? Push notifications specifically implies your Android get push notifications or iOS notifications that you get, but also I've added SMSs and emails to it to make things like, because it is just it is just a network call, right? There is no real difference between it. In-app notifications is when you persist. So you have the notifications tab on Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. So those are notifications which are actually persisted, right? Then your notifications are aggregated, correct? So if you don't have one entry for each notification that you receive. So on one post, if you receive like 2000 notifications, you would see Arpit and 1999 people liked your photo, right? So that's aggregation of notifications. And then notification decider. This is a critical component. If you've been asked this question in the interview, or if you will be asked this question in interview, notification decider is something that you should never ever forget. What it does is, because you would not want to bombard your users with notifications, you would be restricting the number of notifications that would be sent to every user. So this notification decider would decide if this notification needs to be sent to the user or not. And this is important because if a user receives more than 5 notifications from an app in a day, the user uninstalls that. So there is 80% chance that user will uninstall your app. So again, market study, right? So on the basis of these studies, the decisions are made in on the engineering side of things, right? So the main challenge of notification service is fanning out. Okay, every other thing is simple, like SMS, email, push notifications is just a network call. Either you make a call to SNS or GCM or iOS or anywhere, it sends push notification. You make a network call to Twilio, it would send email. You make a network call to MailChimp, it would send emails, right? But at the end, all of this thing is just a network call. In-app updates is database writes, because you have to persist it in the database. To persist it, always do a batch write. Just think. So always, while you're writing so many things in bulk, try to do it in batches. It helps you save bandwidth. While designing a system of that fans out really high or scales very great, always do step scaling. Start with 100, 10K, 500, and 5 million, right? You can't do it in one shot. In-app update center is how this would make it clearer. So how your notification in one notification, your notification tab looks like, you have a profile photo, you have an optional badge. So if you've seen Facebook, there is this badge which is there. You have your title, you have a description, you have time, you have elapsed since created at like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, or something similar. So this kind of thing, if you want to structure it, you would have this kind of structure. You would have a message ID, you would have a notification ID, user ID, created at, title, description, and some metadata. Now this metadata has profile photo badges. Why having a metadata and not separate columns? Because ID, user ID, created at, title, descriptions are fields that are mandatory. That will be there for every messages. But if there are different message types, you might have profile photo for something, you might not have profile photo, you might have an icon, for some notification type, you might not have a badge, or you might want to add images to your notification, you might want to add other meta information to it. So having a field that adds or that allows you to extend your features is a good choice in design. How will you handle on click? How should you handle on click on this notification? So when client clicks on it, it takes some action. How should you handle it? On the server side, I'm talking, while designing. So Android Pay, it opens something. If you have React Native, it goes to a URL, or if you have browser, it goes to a URL. So those things needs to be sent along with your notification data. Keep the client dumb. So action URL should be something that you should be sending it. So now this action URL or action, or name it anything, what it should do it is, it should send, or it should have the value that your client understands, which asks it to do something. Like for example, your action URL could be go to, and in bracket, you give the screen name, and your client reads that particular thing and takes that action. Right. So keeping things generic. So you would want to make your sub, because backend deployment, I think I've written it आगे कहीं पे, here. Because backend deployment is leaner and better than app releases. Once your app ships, it ships. You can't do 10 app releases in a day. Your user will stop using your app. So since you can do as many backend deployments as you can, on-click should be sent with the notifications, and your client should be made dumb. This is a key to a good design. Always remember. So this is something that, you know, most people won't even tell you, right? But what would happen is, you would build it, you would say ki client handle this thing on your end, but then what would happen is a product manager would come in and would say ki nahi, now on clicking of this notification, go to this other page. What would you do? Right? So you would ask the front end team to make those changes, but then it would require an app release. But they would say ki we did an app release yesterday, so now wait for like 2 more weeks for the next app release being there. Right? So to avoid those things, keep your backend structure generic enough to hold a lot of stuff within it. Okay? Always, this is a key to a good design. So keep notification structure generic, encompassing all possible components. Let backend send the data, client not requiring to change a single thing. So if a new logic changes, or an icon changes, or a batch ka icon changes, it will be done on the server side. You'll change the entries in the database and it gets reflected. Right? Okay. But the problem with notification table is it explodes. Kya karoge? NoSQL. Right? Interesting question. How will you aggregate notifications? I will not be discussing it. Just telling you different approaches. Think how would you aggregate notifications? Like, you made a post, you get one notification to notify for it. Let's say you made 3 posts in a day or 5 posts in a day. You would be continuously getting notifications across posts. So how would you aggregate it? So what LinkedIn does is LinkedIn aggregates. So LinkedIn has one notification per post, and it keeps updating itself. So it keeps updating the same notification as if when you receive new notifications on it. That's how it implements in-app updates. Instagram merges the notification of the same type on the same objects, and then it groups it. But now they have also moved to this one notification per object wala thing. But if you would want to aggregate it like some other tool does it, where you would want to aggregate notifications and not have one notification per type, but something like a run length encoding, right? If you would want to do something similar to that, how would you structure it? How would you architect your databases to handle such scenarios? Okay. Now, this is the crux of it. And this is the final thing that we'll be discussing. So fanning out takes a lot of time, right? So you have an event bus, you have publish, mention, recommend, and all of these things. So this is Kafka or Kinesis. So then you would have obviously have listeners to it. So your notification system. So all of these things that you see on the right hand side of event bus is all part of your notification system. Everything is part of a notification system. So what it has is it reads messages from Kafka and it does fan out and it sends to database. It does a fan out and it publishes it to the user. Right? If you see, I've added multiple steps to it. So first of all, I have multiple consumers for my event. Let's say a post is published. I have multiple consumers consuming it. then I give out to workers. But if you see beach mein there is a queue, then there is this DV. Then from the fan out thing I have published, it also has a queue. And then there are some boxes which has some lines in it. If you see, we have added these many systems or these many components in the system just to ensure that the notification system scales. Why? To start with, first choke point. If you have used Kafka or Kinesis, what happens is the parallelism of Kafka is limited by the number of partitions of a topic. So let's say you have a topic called post underscore publish. So every time a post is published, an event is sent to Kafka on that topic. And now if the topic has 10 partitions, what it means is you can have at max 10 consumers to that thing. You can't have 50 consumers. You can just have 10 consumers to it. Okay. So now those 10 consumers, one consumer would be consuming from each partition. With this kind of thing, now this becomes a choke point. Why? Because a lot of posts are being published on the same time. But if your consumer, now this consumer, if you have consumed a post and then if that consumer itself decides to fan out, let's say if Sachin Tendulkar made a tweet or posted something on Instagram and he has 20 million followers, what would happen? Your consumer, it would take a lot of time for you to fan out your notifications to 20 million users, right? So if your one consumer is doing that thing, it is not consuming the next message on that partition. So it would add a lot of chokes. It would add a lot of back pressure to your Kafka. And then you would have a lot of backlog piling up. So since Kafka or Kinesis inherently cannot fan out well, what you would do is you would want to make this process quicker. That's where your consumers or listeners, what they would do is they would simply read the message and put it in an SQS queue. That's it. So that you keep on, because your Kafka consumers are not fanning out well, but you can have hundreds and you can actually have hundreds of consumers for your SQS messages. Right. So your long running, so you would not want your long running processes to be part of Kafka consumers. So that would becoming a choke point. So critical notifications going on that post publish might get a lag as compared to if we just read it and send it to an SQS queue. So that's where I have this little queue here. So what my consumers would do is they would read the message at full speed and would enqueue it, and then it would be fan out, and then it would be sent out to my fan out workers, whose job is to fan the notifications out, send it to the people. Okay, and now while I am having this queue, what it has enabled me to do it is, this is limited by number of partitions. So so this is limited by number of partitions. These are not. I can have hundreds over here. I can just have, if my partition is set to 10, I can just have 10. But this I can have hundreds. And each process or each of the worker is doing a very long running process. It may take 15 minutes for you to send 20 million notifications. But for 50, if I would have applied that loop over here, this would have, now my consumer is not consuming the message, it is actually doing the fan out. So long running thing over here. So which is adding a back pressure, and it is not consuming message at a fast pace, right? So it would add lag to other messages which are enqueued. You would not want to do that.
Arpit, actually, I think maybe because of lack of experience, I'm not getting this, but what is the difference between SQS and your Kafka? If Kafka is limited, why not use SQS directly?
Here, SQS, you need to have event bus, na? Because what event bus would do it is, you can have your same event would be consumed by multiple services. SQS bay, your one message. So we discussed this in first week, right? So what's the difference between a streaming queue, like a data stream, versus your message broker? So if you use SQS, your one message is consumed by one consumer.
Got it.
But
got
with
it.
event bus, your one message can be consumed by multiple. So post publish is not sent 50 times for 50 different services to consume. Post publish is sent to just one time, and it is consumed by your trending service, it is consumed by your notification service, it is consumed by a lot of different services, by search and whatnot.
Got it.
Right. So whenever you want to have one message, one event being consumed by multiple services, you would use Kafka or Kinesis or something like that.
Where is it decided कि किसको भेजना है, to whom to send? There's 20 million का list कहाँ पे बन
Doesn't
रहा है?
send. Others pull from it.
Uh,
So obviously, so Kafka is storing the messages locally, and other services are consuming it from Kafka. So they are pulling the messages out. So Kafka is not pushing the messages. Other folks are pulling the message. So services are pulling the messages out of Kafka for consumption.
I think Arpit, his question was, where do you get that list of 20 million Sachin Tendulkar's followers so that you send notifications to him?
That you, acha, was that the question? Yeah.
yes,
20
yes.
million. Okay. Acha. So that part. So you get it from the user affinity service, no? Does that following relationship, that big graph database?
I think over here in this schematic, it would be fan out workers, right?
Yeah.
That will
So we'll be diving into fan out workers का detail थोड़ा करके. अभी आ रहा है बस 5 मिनट में आ रहा है. ठीक है. So now if you see, I have this thing which is publish. So what fan out worker would do is, fan out worker has a responsibility of going through the followers list. Okay. And then create messages for publisher to send. So now this publish has this one dumb job. जो भी आया, send it. So your publishers, so these are all the workers of your publishers. So this is an SQS queue, and these are the workers. Oh, sorry. These are the workers for the SQS queue. So once you get messages in your publish queue, all you have to do is just broadcast the message. So just send the message out. So here you would have all the details. So you would have email to send to. You'll have email body, email text, and everything. All you have to do is just make the network call and send. Make the network call to MailChimp and send. Make the network call to Twilio and send SMS. So publisher has this very dumb job. It gets all the information that it requires to send the message. So its job is to simply make a lot of network calls and send the messages out of the system. Now we go a little deep into fan out, because the Kafka wala thing is clear. We go into a little detail of fan out workers. So the fan out system has this job to find out whom to send notifications to. So given an event, you would need to check whom to send notifications to. Like if Sachin Tendulkar posted it, you would want to find out kisko bhejna hai, right? Who are his followers that you would want to send notification to. So that's the job of fan out. So they would make a SQL query if the data is stored in relational database. They would make a query to the graph database if the data is stored in graph. Or if it's an inter-service communication, they can even talk to user affinity service and get the list. But the most preferable way is your service directly talking to the database and making the query and getting the data. So find whom to send notifications to, then check the preference of the end user. So users usually, so almost all the app usually has a preference window where you can set the preference, which says, I don't want to receive any more push notifications. I don't want to receive any SMSs. So you check for that preference for the end user, and then you decide, so then you know, iske liye to send karne ki zarurat nahi. So first you get all the users, and then you check for the users who have opted out of it, right? Opted out for such notifications. Then you create a task and you delegate it to the publisher. So publisher is in this small queue and the workers, right? So you create a task and then you publish it to the user. Now this fan out system has its own data, has its own brain to decide, does this event deserve a notification? So you would not want to send notifications for every single post that the user has made, right? You would not want to send, like if I was an inactive user and now I'm posting it after a while, then it makes sense for Instagram to broadcast a notification to some of my followers that Arpit just posted a photo. Because if I get likes, I'm more likely to get engaged on the platform, right? So given this use case, there needs to be a check made, because you would not want to send, because this Kafka bus or this event bus does not know, it gets all the events. For every single post which is published, you are getting this event. But does this mean that you want to send messages for all of them? Probably yes, probably no. It depends on what kind of things that you are getting, right? But if there is this famous person who has been tagged a lot of times, for every single mention, you would not want to bug him with the notifications, right? So that's where your fan out service needs to have a brain of its own that decides, does this event deserve a notification? Or does this user require this notification? So all of these things are decided by your fan out service. So your fan out service actually reads from your user DB, your affinity database, preference database, and its own database where it stores this meta information and decides whom to send to. So your logic becomes simple of fan out. For a notification type of event, find the people to send notification to, keep the cursor open and read in batches. So if it's a SQL query or if it's Grout, when by batches I mean, do it in groups, do it in batches, have the call paginated because you can't get all the entries at once, and then filter out the user that does not require the notification due to maximum notifications received per day. Like you would not want to send more than 5 notifications to this user. If you already send out 5, don't want to send it. You don't want to send notifications to user having lesser affinity. Like if I'm inactive user and then I posted on a while, and if I have 200 around followers on Insta, not all of them receive a notification that Arpit posted. It's just about 15-20 who receive the notification. So I would not want to send notifications to people having lesser affinity. So all of this logic goes in fan out workers. And then depending on your configured preference, that's how you define or you filter out the users that you don't want to send to. Now for the users that survive these filters, create a task, send it to publisher. Yeah, so your fan out system becomes very simple. Now comes a publisher. Publisher mein, one interesting thing that you have to ensure is you don't have, so in the first diagram you saw just one queue. Instead of having it one queue, you would have 3 or 4 or 5 queues depending on the priority. So P0, P1, P2, P3, these are the priorities of the queue. So P0 implies like very critical notifications, like that has to go. Like what all would be there? Bell icon.
Someone live.
Like, so people who have pressed the bell icon or see first on Facebook or something similar, or having very high affinity. If somehow you find that these are the users, so these folks or these notifications should go immediately, or these notifications should be sent immediately, you would be setting it P0. So you can't have all of the notifications being sent to P0, right? But P0 you have, so your fan out needs to know that these are P0 notifications which needs to go. Others are classified as P1, P2, P3. So depending on the priority of the notification or some score or some logic that you would be having, you would be deciding which queue that you would be putting it on. And then it gets fan out to by these are the workers. So you would have maximum number of workers for P0 queues. Not really, but you have enough scale of workers to ensure that you are able to send notifications with minimal lag. So you would be measuring the amount of time it takes for you to receive a message and send a notification, and that lag should not be more than 5 seconds, right? So you would have some SLAs defined per queue. So here you would have SLAs per queue. So for folks who don't know what SLA is the guarantee that is given by your system to your customers. So let's say the one who is consuming the message, let's say fan out worker is the one who is putting the message in publishers, right? So the publisher system would define that any message I receive in P0 queue, I would ensure that it gets sent in 5 seconds. So 5 seconds is your SLA defined by your publisher for P0 queue. It would say it would take 10 minutes for you to send messages for P1 category, 20 minutes for P2 and 30 minutes for P3. Depending on the SLA, you would be pushing messages to corresponding queues. Correct? So it depends on the implementation, on how you, on the number of workers that you would be having on per queue. This is a fan out, and obviously these are auto scaled. Auto scaled adhering to the SLA which is defined.
What is auto scale?
Auto scaling. So
Yeah, auto scale, but like is
your voice is breaking, by the way. Chalo, I'll anyway answer. So auto scaling is, you can auto scale your infrastructure. So the number of workers on one queue, it can be static or it can be dynamic. Once you have static, it implies you have 4 servers running who are consuming from this one queue, which means you have 4 consumers for this queue. When it is
audible?
auto
Hello?
scaled, it depends on the number of messages which are there in the queue. Uske hisab se you decide how many workers should be there. So AWS has this auto scaling feature on which you can decide ki how many instances do you want. If there are 100 messages in the queue, if there are 200 messages in the queue, then how many? If there are 2000, then how many? So these are some rules that you can configure through which your system is auto scaling up or scaling down.
Achha, so workers can also be auto scale.
Yes.
I know about servers.
Similar to servers, workers can also be auto scaled.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, SQS queues priority wise consumers that sends notification. And now if you see all of the workers that you have, they are very heavy on network IO, right? Sending SMS, sending email, sending push notifications. Every single one is network IO based. So having smaller RAM is okay, but you need to have bigger network cards. So pick your instances wisely where these would be heavy on network IO. So you would pick instances on AWS or Microsoft or whatever you use, such that they are heavy on network cards. Okay. And for if something is heavy on network IO, Node.js becomes a good choice because all IO operations are asynchronous in Node.js. Golang has concurrency, so you would not pick something that does not support heavy network IOs. Like Python is not a very good use case for this. But if you use Node.js, you would get a very high fan out for network calls. Every network IO is asynchronous. So pick your low level language depending on the kind of use cases you have. So yeah, publishers are dumb. They need all the details to send notifications. So you would have, so your fan out service would need to provide email, phone, subscription, ARN, body, everything that your publisher needs in a proper structure to just send the notification. That's it. That's the job of it. So if you see, we have just split the responsibilities across the spectrum, and so that everyone is guaranteeing their own SLAs, right? And to start with, it was very simple. One worker was doing everything, and then we started splitting it into multiple components. And yeah, bell icon wala to we already discussed, and yeah, that's all I wanted to cover. Questions?
One thing I have not related to actually notifications, but what is the difference between like this data streaming services like Kafka and Kinesis versus SNS? Means SNS also allows multiple consumers. So how are we differentiating between that?
Okay, so SNS does not have its own persistence. Kafka has it.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Any other question? Now you guys know how to scale, what's the importance of bell icon and all of those stuff. So all the features that companies implement, there is a very big reasoning behind it. Just keep your eyes open.
Never thought it would, like, there were so many components involved in notification delivery.
So I did not, actually there are far more than that. Just go through that Twitter ka blog for trending wala thing. You would see how fewer components that I have actually considered while designing it, because it all depends on the use cases and the kind of things or the kind of breakages that you have. But with respect to notifications, to scale it, you would need at least these many.
Got it.
At least for the companies that I have worked for, there were more than this. They were the fan out system was split into two. The Kafka consumers had one more intermediary consumer between it. So you have two deciders and not one. Over here, if you see, we have discussed that only fan out would have its own brain, like over here.
Correct. Yeah.
The fan out is actually doing a lot of things, right? It is actually deciding also. It is considering preferences, deciding on a lot of things. but this is actually split it into multiple components as well. But that is like overkill for like any discussion or any design whatsoever. You don't really would need to worry about that. But if you'd want to split it, you can obviously split it.
This seems enough for now, I think.
Yeah, exactly. This is enough. You would not want to dwell more than this.
Yeah.
And obviously, one thing which you should be doing, which I just realized I didn't add, was analytics around notifications, which we discussed for SLAs, and analytics for notifications is very important. So, because you would need to answer the questions now, which user, so a user got how many notifications, you would need to have answer for that. So you would need to store it somewhere. You need all of those analytics to make your brain of fan out powerful enough to take those calls.
Yeah, so the fan out itself needs to put data in DB ki मैं इसको notification भेज रहा हूँ ताकि itself बाद में refer कर
assuming that publisher is sending it.
Yeah.
So analytics is something that you would also have to have. So one more component. So obviously system has a ton of components to think about it. Yeah. So this would be the most challenging thing with respect to fan out. It's the most interesting problem that anyone could solve. So think about it, and or do think about how would you implement aggregations of notifications. It's a very interesting problem to have, and solving it takes, and obviously simulate it on SQL side. Assume you have SQL storage, assume have some structure, and just try to solve that problem. You'll have fun implementing it. And yep, that's it. Okay. Next week we'll be diving it into storages. You'll be learning to at least one very interesting data structure that would help you build faster storage systems. So that is something that you should be looking up for, and we'll be designing very interesting storage systems. So, awesome. Thanks, guys. See you next Saturday at 4.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.